So this week we're talking about current events, and it's a conversation lesson. It's for you to be comfortable with having conversations in English, especially talking about current events, current affairs, things that you see on the news, things that you hear. And what I felt is that there are two main issues. So the first one is sometimes you read something on the news or you watch something on TV and you don't really understand. So that's the first challenge. Or if you understand, you don't really know then how to discuss it or how to talk about it. So I've divided the lesson in two parts. And then the first part is understanding the news, because there are specific words, there's a specific vocabulary that the media uses when they're talking about certain events. Like if they're talking about sports, if they're talking about politics, if they're talking about, I don't know, economics, things like that, they will use specific words. So this example here shows us like a small paragraph taken out of a fictitious newspaper that just talks about something that happens politically. Oriel, do you want to read it for us, please?
Yes, tonight there have been unconfirmed reports of outbreaks of violence in Smithville. There have been mounting tension over the past month between the ruling party and the opposition. While there has been tension for years, clash started to flare up after one of the shadow ministers, John Jones, was assassinated. Since then, tensions have been running high.
Okay. So when you first read it, I'm assuming you probably read it before, like when I sent it before now. When you first read it, did it make sense? Did you understand everything, or were you like, okay, let me read again because I'm not sure I understand?
Yes, I need to read it again.
You had to read again. Okay. So that's the first tip. If you have the possibility to read again and to make sure you understand, read it again, sentence by sentence. Even for me, when I first read it, I understood the how do I say it? The big picture, like the image, what's going on. I understand the big idea, but there are still words that sometimes you don't understand, and so that's why in the next slide I've broken it down. I've picked up the words that I felt might be difficult or new, so that we understand them together. So for me, I didn't know what a shadow minister was. I had never heard of it before, but I found out after reading this text that a shadow minister is a minister that belongs to the opposition. So they are people from the ruling party and from the opposition. And so when someone from an opposition party is appointed as a minister, in UK English, they call that person a shadow minister.
Okay.
Another thing I didn't know was assassinated. I don't know if it's the same in French, but to me, I thought being assassinated and being murdered or being killed, it's all the same thing. But it turns out that in English, we say that someone has been assassinated when the person was killed for political reasons. So, for example, Martin Luther King was assassinated. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Kennedy was assassinated. Now, if someone breaks into your house trying to steal things from you and then they accidentally, or not even accidentally, if they kill you, you have been killed, but not assassinated. Assassinated implies that there's a political reason behind it. Then unconfirmed report simply means that it's not confirmed. We don't know if it's true or if it's not true. Outbreaks of violence is when in a certain situation there are various instances of violence happening at the same time, usually around times of like election. you'll hear that people in this area are resorting to violence, people in that area are resorting to violence. Mounting tension is when the tension is building up and it's getting worse by the hour. What is it? What's that? Yeah, ruling party is the people that are running the government, and then the opposition is everybody else who is against the people in power. Clashes, I think we know what it is. It's a conflict, a disagreement. Spoke about assassinated, tensions running high. It's the same thing again. It's like when the tension is just escalating to a new level. Flare up, it's a synonym of outbreaks of violence. It's like when things is starting, we can say there's an outbreak of violence, or you can say violence is flaring up or tensions are flaring up. When you've read something or you've seen something on the news, how do you then start talking about it? And the easiest thing to do is to follow these 3 steps. So step 1, you describe the issue. So you almost become like a journalist. What happened? When did it happen? Who was involved? Where was it? What was the consequences? So you're just stating the facts. Then the second step is to explain the popular view and say what people are thinking about it, what people are saying about it. And then the third step is you state your own opinion. And I believe that, I think that, I strongly believe that. What do you think about the issue? And then you give your opinion. And so that's the easiest way to get involved or engage in a conversation about current affairs. So the other day I saw on the news that researchers found out that it's actually possible to get COVID more than once. So they did research on people who were sick with COVID-19 back in March, and then the same people got sick again. So they started traveling again, or they started going out, and then they got infected with COVID again for the second time. So the general opinion is that now people are scared because most people thought that once you get it once, you are immune to it. You don't get it again. It's almost like if you've had it already, you're safe. But now research is showing that that's not the case. So people are scared now again to go out and resume their activities. And it also will then put some sort of anxiety with regards to the future, because most people felt like we were going towards the end of the pandemic. But now with this new information, it looks like it's probably not the end. Now, my opinion is that I feel like there's a whole conspiracy going on behind all of this COVID thing, because one day they're saying something, the next day they're saying something else, something different. I don't think it takes you that long to find out such things. So it's either they knew about it and they didn't tell us, I don't know why, or they're pretending something is happening. And I also feel like there's a whole conspiracy behind the whole vaccine thing. Like they're trying to get people to get the vaccine. And so maybe they're making up the story so that we are now scared and we feel like, okay, so if you can get it more than once, then we have no choice but to get the vaccine. So yeah, that's my opinion.
I want to talk about COVID, but for the case of Gabon.
Okay.
I don't know if I will have all the words to describe what I want to say, but I will try.
Okay.
Yeah, we have seen on the media that no, I will to describe the issue.
Yeah.
For the moment in the Gabon, we are in lockdown, and we should respect mesures barrières. How to say mesures barrières?
Measures, the measures. Just say the measures.
The what?
Measures.
Measures. Okay, the measures, and we need to put a mask, we need to wash our hands and to respect distanciation. But we have seen on the media for last two days that the Ministry of the Health
yeah,
was in up country in OYM. And he has been received by a lot of population without respect measure, with not wearing their mask and just to have contact with population. And from the general from the popular view, there is no how to say coherence, how to say,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense when you say we need to respect measure to avoid COVID, and the ministry don't respect this measure.
Yeah.
And the consequence is that all the population are so how can we do to respect the measure if the government doesn't do the same? And
yeah.
from my opinion, I don't know what I can think of that. I'm just
perplexed.
Perplexed. I'm just perplexed, and that's all for the last news about COVID in Gabon.
Okay, that's good. That was really good. I think even Dukaga would agree with me that you broke it down really nicely, starting by stating the facts and then what happened and what people are saying. And even though your opinion is that you're perplexed, you are entitled to just be perplexed and be like, I don't even know what to say because this doesn't make sense. So well done. It was really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what am I going to say about the COVID? You speak of conspiracy ideas, and she tells us about the situation in Gabon. What I can say is how this situation is experienced here in Germany. I think people at the beginning of this pandemic, we thought that how can I try firstly to describe the situation. There are movements at the for the time being that don't believe anymore in the reality of COVID, and they organized a protestation against policies that tries to or government measures that try to establish policies to avoid COVID, and these measures contribute to make how to say it, not liberty, but how to say, what is the word for liberté?
Freedom.
Yeah, public freedom in danger, and they try to protest against those measures so that we live normally although although there is this pandemic. And my opinion about this situation is that there is a political interpretation of the pandemic, and more precisely the left side of the left political parties that try to see in this lockdown, they try to interpret it with the capitalistic, to stop the capitalistic society. And they think the pandemic is a kind of proof that we can live without this huge commercial exchange between countries. And they try to play additional time, to use these football words, additional time of COVID, help to bring a kind of a proof that we can live without capitalistic society. And capitalistic society means exchange, intensive exchange between countries, and that's my interpretation of this additional time of COVID, the second waves. They speak of the second wave of COVID. Nicht obwohl, but how to say cependant. However, the situation, statistically speaking, is better than what we lived in March, for example. We can see the statistic. I think the pandemic is almost over, but they keep on bringing
new cases, new stories.
But an intimidation discourse on the pandemic. To see we have 2 cases, but you have to be careful, and that's why I say, in my opinion, that's a political interpretation of the situation. But when we see the things properly, there is no danger. The danger is not, or the situation is not more dangerous than what we lived in March, for example.
Yeah. They're making it look worse than it actually is.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
that's my opinion. I don't know if what about the structure of my speech, but I don't respect the 3 steps.
I think you did. You did, but you did it in a way where you didn't spend too much time on step 1 and step 2. You briefly stated the fact and the popular opinion, and then you expanded with your own opinion more, which is totally okay. It's perfect. We understood what you said, and I feel like I wanted to ask you questions. Like, as you were speaking, I felt engaged with what you were saying, and so that's a good point. And then even with Oriel, when she was describing what's happening with the minister, and it's like when you speak, I almost want to finish the sentences for you, because I agree with you when you say that, but how it doesn't make sense. How can you keep us still at home? We're not able to go out, but then you yourself, you're not protecting yourself, you're not respecting the measures. And so that's really how you express, that's really how you engage in conversations about current events. It's not about your English being perfect, because that comes with time. It's not about you having the perfect words. So one thing I've noticed is you get stuck, and you both did this, is that you have a word in your mind that you want to say, and when you don't know the equivalent in English, you get stuck. So my advice is to try and find a different way to say it, or try to explain. Okay. So for example, if you're looking for the word for however, and you don't know or you don't remember, you can say but. It still means the same thing. So you don't have to use the exact word that you have in your mind and let it stop you from expressing yourself until you remember it. find a synonym, find a different way to explain it.